up everyone, hope we're all doing well. Last night the UFC 314 press conference took place and Gene Silva stole the show. And going into this one, I was expecting Paddy and Chandler to steal the show and have a lot of back and forths, but we didn't really. I was expecting Chandler to be very patriotic and see you at the top and super cringy. That wasn't the case. It was just Gene Silva pretty much bullying Bryce Mitchell. And then of course you had Volk singing and you had a few more people talking as well, but wasn't much going on other than Gene Silva just being a fucking knobhead towards Bryce Mitchell. And I've seen a lot of people say Gene Silva, oh, he's a right twat at the press conferences. I don't like Gene Silva at the press conference. He was a right knobhead. Well, you can't please anyone, can you? We have these press conferences. We had the 313 press conference. Granted, they are all weight cutting. We had that press conference. It was boring as fuck. And then you have 314. Gene Silva actually being electric, entertaining, engaging, trash talking. Yeah, it might not be your cup of tea, but you can't deny it makes these press conferences a lot more enjoyable to watch. But I didn't want to just go on about the press conference. I want to go on about the fight itself between Bryce Mitchell and Gene Silva, because I, for one, really can't wait for this fight. And I think that press conference has helped boost up the hype for that fight. But man, I really can't wait for when this goes down. And I'm going to be completely honest, lads. I think this is a make or break fight for Gene Silva, because if Gene Silva is able to defeat Bryce Mitchell, and let's say he gets another finish, as all of his wins in the UFC have came by finish so far, well then he's in a great position because he beats his first ranked fighter. And at the moment Bryce Mitchell is quite a big name, and not for the right reasons. He's in a bit of a tough spot right now. He's in some hot water. So if Gene Silva is able to capitalize and get a win over Bryce Mitchell, well then that puts him in a very good situation, and we know that he's able to hang in there against ranked opponents, because the only two people who've been able to beat Bryce Mitchell so far is Ilia Topuria, a former champion, and Josh Emmett, who flatlined him, who's been at the top of that featherweight division, lingering around there for a long time now, who is also proven and legit. So if Gene Silva's able to, you know, get a victory against Bryce Mitchell, he's a part of that caliber. However, if he loses, well then unfortunately he just becomes another fighter, because as we've seen recently, when all these fighters lose, you have so many people start saying, oh, he's been fraud checked, oh, he's fraud checked, and then a lot of the hype is gone. And it's usual that hype goes when a fighter loses, but I feel like nowadays people will instantly jump off the bandwagon and just completely move on. Whereas back in the day, I feel like people would still kind of have a core audience and still stick with their boy. Whereas I feel like that isn't the case any longer. I mean, just look at Peyton Talbot. Everyone was high on his hype train, and now everyone just kind of slates him and doesn't really like him that much. It flips really fast if they pick up their first loss in the UFC. And before we carry on, if you're enjoying this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribe, as I'm trying to hit 1k subs by the end of 2025. I've been appreciating all the support I've been getting recently. Now let's get straight back into the video. Now I know that a lot of people are on the Gene Silva hype train, but if you look at the bookies, they have Gene Silva as a massive favorite and Bryce Mitchell as a big underdog, and that doesn't really make much sense to me. I mean, I've never really been a fan of Bryce Mitchell, but this was the same guy who completely dominated Edson Barboza. Granted, it wasn't a prime Edson Barboza, but he still went out there and did his thing against Edson Barboza. And not only that, in that first round against Ilia, he was having a fair bit of success. He was able to get a takedown, was landing a few jabs. So the fact that he's such a massive underdog against Gene Silva is quite baffling in my opinion. Now I do believe that Gene Silva is that guy, and I believe that Gene Silva will get the victory against Bryce Mitchell, but I'm not fucking daft. I know that Bryce Mitchell could potentially win this one, and he's definitely going to cause some problems for Gene Silva. And I've been seeing a lot of people recently say, well, against Charles Jourdain, Gene Silva got took down a few times, and yes, he did. But in like the first takedown attempt, he jumped Gilly. He was trying to join the Gilly Goose gang like Dustin Poirier. So I'll let him off for that one. And then he stuffs a takedown, and then in the last 10 seconds, he gets taken down. But even when he gets taken down, he threats a submission as he threats an armbar. Then we go into the second round. He gets taken down because he just kind of recklessly charges in, gets taken down, but gets straight back to his feet within like, what, 20 seconds, 30 seconds maybe, and then he ends up getting the finish. So people like to point out, oh, he was getting taken down by Charles Jourdain. Okay, let's be fair. Yeah, on the stats, that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like on paper. But when you actually go and watch it, was a bit more to it than he got tucked down. He wasn't exactly controlled for a long period of time. And maybe against Bryce Mitchell, he will get controlled for a long period of time. But against Bryce Mitchell, I don't think he has to worry about the striking that much, if I'm being completely honest. It's more so the grappling side of things. But we do have to consider that Gene Silva fought just 2 weeks ago against an all-out striker who wasn't relatively known, Malisic Bagdasarian. Sorry if I butchered his last name. I could have potentially, but regardless, he was fighting a striker just 2 weeks ago, and now in just 1 month's time, he's fighting an all-out grappler in Bryce Mitchell, who's very proven. Defeated Kron Gracie in December, didn't take any damage as well. So it's going to be a very interesting. I just can't wait for this one. And again, I know all the hype is on Gene Silva, but if Bryce Mitchell's able to beat Gene Silva, well, he takes all of that hype, because it's not like Bryce Mitchell's like a Raoni Barcelos when he defeats Peyton Talbot. You know, Raoni's like quite old, 38 or so. So it's not like he's going to take that steam and really go on a title run. I mean, maybe he could do, but I highly doubt it. Whereas Bryce Mitchell, he's still relatively young. He's still got plenty in the tank to go in that featherweight division and be a problem for a lot of fighters. So if he's able to steal that hype train off of Gene Silva and carry it on his back, all things could be great for him as well. But that's all I've got to say on this fight, guys. What do you guys think? UFC 314 can't come soon enough. I am itching for that fight. God, we got UFC 313 today, but I'm already just thinking of UFC 314 because that card is so stacked. But what do you guys think about Bryce Mitchell versus Gene Silva? What do you think about the press conference? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.